Okay, now Bob is touching on something that no one is addressing here. Siskiyou County is a very depressed economic region. And you're going to rehabilitate these people, and so they get dry, or they get sober, however you want to put it, and you put them out, and there's still no job. There's still nothing that they
Frank,
can.
that's not true.
There's 180 jobs at the step office right now. I get a job listing to me every day.
250, last summer there was a job listed, 250 jobs in Siskiyou County. They were on a list that you could, you could, 250 jobs, that mind-boggling, I know. When I saw that, we have, our people are unemployable. That's our biggest.
And it's not because they're a felon. It is not that. It is because they lack skills and work ethic and sobriety, things like that. It has nothing, the idea that you can't get a job because you're a felon is, it's not even true anymore. We have partnerships with businesses that hire straight from our program. I'm a job reference for several people. Myself, Corporal Frank Ward, Corporal Fernie Fernandez, we all act as job references, and people write us down, and people call, hey, is this guy really good? Hey, he's there every day, he does this, this, and this. It's there if people want to do the work. Now, changing the culture in somebody and making them want to work. I had a person who, he came up to me one morning at the day reporting center, he goes, Miss G, I know why you make us come here at 8 o'clock in the morning every day. And I said, why? He goes, because that's what time people go to work. He'd been in the program for 3 months, and it took him that long to realize that's why he got up in the morning. So it takes time to build that work ethic and that concept that is normal for us. It's not normal for certain populations in our county.
I think one of the, just to comment on that briefly, one of the problems is that when I was a kid, if you knew someone who went to jail, that was really bad. There was a lot of stigma. If, Joe Dokes over there went to jail, oh my God. And you have a situation because of this huge mass incarceration that it's not unusual for kids to come to school and say, oh yeah, my dad's in jail. Oh yeah, my dad's in jail. Hey, so's my mom. And the strange result of this massive increase in incarceration is that you have removed for a lot of populations the stigma of being in jail. And in fact, it's, you see the cop shows, you see these things, it glamorizes it. We had our sheriff running through weed, chasing people on the Discovery Channel. Well, that's really going to attract businesses to Siskiyou County. Looking at that, great.
It did. Out in Big Spring.
Yeah, it did. And now we have more jobs for helicopter pilots.
Another PR issue.
We've really got to start, if we really want to look at this, we've got to get away from, hey, look, we've got this big flow of criminals. How are we going to house them and do this? And we've got to get to the point where we're saying, hey, we want to be, as a community, a group of people who have jobs, who are part of the modern world, or connected with fiber optic. They're speaking languages at this college. They cut out all the Spanish classes. How are we going to be competitive in the global economy, which is part of Siskiyou County, if we only think about, gee, we got a lot of criminals here, how do we build a bigger jail? Let's make that not the normal. We don't want the normal to be, we're rehabilitating criminals. We want the normal to be, we're amazed at the innovation that's coming from the students and the community in this county.
We're rehabilitating people, is what we're doing.
Well, before they get to that point.
Yeah, we're rehabilitating people, and we're trying to do that in education as well. I work in education, so that's where I can kind of speak in my behalf. Do you know how much money was invested in education this year?
I don't know.
Less in incarceration, most likely.
$1 billion in higher education in the state of California this year.
Versus corrections being?
$1 billion was invested because they know we have a problem in the state of California. 5.2 million people in between 2010, when the crash happened, and we tightened the belts, and AB 109 happened, and all of these legislation things happened where we tightened the belt. 5.2 million people left our K-12 schools without a high school diploma or GED. So the state said we need to do something to fix this. They took a positive approach. And I think that's what the sheriff's department is trying to do here, is that they know that they need to rehabilitate people. They need to provide education and programs for people to get better. And just like our education system, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people employable. So that's why I'm here. That's why I am trying to establish partnerships with our day reporting center, with our jail, with family resource centers, Department of Rehab, our WIC program, whatever it may be. We need to leverage these resources and bring them together. We don't need to spout false truths, talking about Wall Street taking most of our money, saying that $37 million, why don't we regroup and see how we can spend that money? We don't have that money. We don't even have 37 million. We only have 27.
I paid a lot of taxes this year, so it went somewhere.
You must have made a lot of money.
I pay them too.
I think
we all pay taxes, to sit there and say, well, you know what, I know how bad we need it. I work it every day. My staff works it every
I
day.
think what he's trying to say is, you don't have anything at this point.
No.
The only time you guys are gonna get money is if you start construction on that jail.
Absolutely,
Yes.
that's it. There is no
And I
27
get that.
million.
And I also
this
want to
time.
commend you for and if you're doing it to the rehab program, the fact that you have people falling between the cracks, that is what it is. If you're 30% successful, you are successful.
I think that the citizens.
But I don't find that acceptable.
Yeah.
The
I
citizens of the
understand
county.
that, but in reality, people, they don't change
The
that.
citizens of the county, I really feel have got to have to take the first step to understand, we as the state has created a subculture. There's a sub-lifestyle. Now, when you deal with these people, they're non-functional. They're not, we have to accept that that's here now. That's real. They're not in this room. They would never come to a forum like this. But it is here. And our median income is for a household is $27,000. Okay, that's not much to live on. That's the median. But we've created this subculture is there. We have to go to work. And we're not, and locking them up isn't going to be the answer. And that's not what I'm saying. But we have to have these programs, and we have to get them ready for a program. I personally, I've worked with this little program, getting people, get them clean, get them a job. They go right back to where they were because there's not follow-up. We don't have anything place to follow up, and we don't even have a facility. We don't have any programs for the follow-up. But we, as a county, this is why I'm really I endorse this forum, is we have to start understanding that that's our responsibility. That subculture is real and it's ours, and it's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. The children are learning, and they're basically coming out unemployable also. So
People have to have a reason. And I guess my issue is they have to want to change. I've been doing this a long time. And when you put restrictions on people and say, you are going to do this and go to rehab, their chances of success are very small. When they come to you and say, hey, I want to do it, the success is, so to sit there and put all these restrictions on people isn't helping. We can provide them the service, but until they want to go there and they want to change their lifestyle, we can only provide the tools to help them figure out that change.
I know 5 heroin addicts.
The 37?
I know 5 heroin addicts right now that cannot get any help.
The $37 million.
I know of 5 heroin addicts that don't have a place to go. The best thing they could do is get into trouble to get into your program. There isn't anything going.
The $37 million, what's it going to?
Nothing unless you build a jail.
So the
That's it.
$37 million is a jail, and it's not any more rehabilitation
Well, we're
personnel.
gonna have classrooms. We just
But
had we're trying to get tablets for our population
You have to have probation officers, you have to have more.
But we have
people.
realignment funds for that, so
Yeah.
we can
You don't have
leverage what we
additional.
have.
We're not asking for,
You
And you
would
have
need
mental health
additional,
funds coming in.
you would need
Yes.
additional funds.
Yeah, it's
It's not,
disingenuous to say
$37 million is just for the physical jail.
the physical
And
building.
you're talking about, you need
This
to
is
deal
the
with the
problem.
people.
Yeah.
And
But it
it's-
makes it so that I can do my job,
Well,
probation
yeah,
can do their
you
job,
do your
everybody
job,
can
but
do their
you're
job.
You
Because
need more people to do the job.
The bill's gonna be higher. You're gonna have to feed those people. I mean, even if you say, okay, I can run this new facility with the same staff, you know, more people, more food. That's just,
That's
true about it. And I.
We are gonna have to feed them, that's the law.
Yeah, and
Decent food.
Humanity kind of thing, you know?
Speaking of food, Allison, what happened to your program when you started having Cocoa Puffs in the morning?
I actually had an uprising in attendance, so, I mean,
Right.
we've done all kinds of creative
So just-
things.
I
the
appreciate
food.
it. Yeah, I appreciate
Yes.
it.
We gave 1,800 pounds of food to the food
We're
bank
designing the
last year
jail
from
so
our
it's a
garden.
little bit more efficient, so that it doesn't require as much staff that we
But I
can.
appreciate it, but, you know, even what Bob says, you have to go, you know, you can't just wait for them to come to the jail, you have to go talk to them also. And you need more people if you have more people in the program. You know,
And
Allison's not gonna deal with all the extra people that are gonna be there.
We're
And
establishing.
And how do you think we
relationships.
solve that?
I don't know, but.
We
you
solve
know,
it as a community.
I
That's
agree
what
with
Bob
you.
was trying to say.
I can
This
see-
is our
but I want
problem.
Well, we
to know-
solve it with more
see,
money.
yeah, the
One of the
thing-
ways we
yeah,
do it. We gotta
one of the
hire
things
more
you
Well, we
hire-
can solve it with people actually taking action and not just running their mouth.
Yeah, that's
how-
exactly.
It's not about running the mouth, but it's kind of like $37 million is only gonna buy a new jail.
Yeah.
It's not gonna expand the rehabilitation.
How many
say-
people are you mentoring right now that have a drug or felony?
Fortunately not, I have
Okay.
enough, I have
Okay.
enough. to-
Andy, how many people are you mentoring right now that have a
You're-
drug
you're-
problem?
Okay, so I want to change this whole direction now.
Yeah.
So it was already on the ballot. It's a special tax. I mean, truthfully, this is a special tax for the jail. Okay, so after this is paid off for the jail, this tax is just going to keep going on and be sent to whatever, is what you're saying now.
This is a general tax.
It's a general
It's a
tax.
general
but
tax,
it-
50
it
plus
was-
one.
But at first, it was a special tax.
It was a special tax at
Because
first.
it's gonna go towards the jail. And so if it's a general tax, then why are we saying it's gonna go towards the jail if it's gonna be a general
Well, the
tax?
city's doing a tax, and they're saying what they, so in a general tax, you can indicate on your measure what you intend to use it.
Then why didn't you do it the
We-
first time?
Well, we tried. The board didn't want to. They wanted to go to a special.
Because they
That's what
believe
we tried.
it is a special
Well, this
tax.
is.
Is it going to the
When
general
you-
fund?
It is a general
It
fund.
goes to
It
the
is,
general
goes to the general fund, and then,
Once the $9 million is paid off,
then it goes away.
it goes away.
As soon as the loan is paid in full.
So it's a special tax, and it
a
already
general
went
tax.
before the well, we can argue all night. It went before the people, and the people said, no, they didn't think that this is what they wanted to support. Now, when Mount Shasta said, hey, we want the library, we had the 2/3. Everybody stepped up and said, yes, we want this library. So maybe we should hear what the community is saying, that they didn't vote for the jail because we want to use this money for something else than building more cells.
Do you know how many people voted in the primary election? In Siskiyou County?
16,667.
And how many people usually vote in a presidential election in Siskiyou County?
Now you got me.
Yeah, and 4 years ago, it was around 26,000. So there was close to 10, no, that's wrong. That's a misfigure.
think it's
Sorry.
12.
I'm not going to quote any figures because I don't want to
Yeah,
misquote
I did.
figures.
I get
26.
But it was
Okay.
more. There's always more people that vote in a primary election. So I will argue that
No.
point
Presidential.
in a presidential
Yeah.
election versus a primary.
Yeah.
So you get more voter turnout. So
You could.
But
to me, there
to me,
is.
that's a sign of bad planning. If you're going to introduce a specialized tax and you want a population to vote, again, I would look to the sheriff's department for bad planning.
And I
We
would,
also have an issue on board at this election regarding the legalization of marijuana. I will tell you again, bad planning. You're going to get a crowd out there. It's a crapshoot, even
and
if
the
it's
worst part
50%.
is, and I have to agree with you, I mean, when it comes to campaign planning, Bob's got his form there that he doesn't like, special tax, general tax, all this other stuff. I gotta say, I've spent 19 years in a jail. I mean, Jeff, how long you been in jail?
You got 20.
Yeah, he's gonna be time served in a few years, so you gotta think about, we're not politicians. This isn't our forte, our PR, stuff like that. I mean, all of those things that, I 100% agree that there are so many things lined up against that part of it that we've done incorrectly or not I wouldn't say incorrectly, just not knowing how to do things right. I mean, running campaigns and things like that, that's not, but
Well,
do
you
you
know,
want a sheriff's department that runs campaigns? I don't know. That's the difference.
The sheriff runs for
Yeah,
his position.
don't tell me
I
our
believe-
sheriff isn't
Personally,
a politician.
he doesn't run.
Right, but not for different
sheriff's
special
department.
things and things like that. That's a
I'm
different,
just saying,
No,
And
he
the
doesn't.
I
difference
agree with
between-
you.
look at something like that,
I agree
you
100%
have to
with
look a
you.
little bit forward as to what are your chances here?
And we did. The first one was a half a percent, and we found out that we did not need a 0.5%. That generated $2 million a year, and we could get away with a 0.25%, which is less. That'll generate about $1 million a year to pay back this loan. There is a 0.25 sales tax. It's going to sunset the 31st of December. So realistically, it'll be a wash for the county.
I still have to say that I think it's going to, that what you're doing will be challenged. I don't think that if you specifically, we passed, Mount Shasta passed the library tax. We watched Mount Shasta pass the library tax, and the first thing we thought was, that's way too much money for a library. I'm just.
Well, no, yeah,
and that's-
I agree.
Personally, I believe that too. When we looked at it, we said, okay, we have some programs that we need to take care of. And we did what the county is attempting to do right now, but what we did was we spoke to the library, we have senior programming, and yes, we had to include some public works projects. But again, it's all discretionary.
That's
And
what this
as
is.
Bob will tell you, that any given council, as it changes, those discretionary funds change. That also could pose potential problems.
We have to trust our elected officials, and our elected officials voted 5-0, knowing that these are discretionary funds, that their intent was to spend it on the payback for a loan.
And that's-
But you're absolutely
I'm just
correct.
saying,
If
they change.
if they change, we still got the loan obligation that they're gonna have to deal with if we borrow money. So I'm not really not
And it still
concerned.
ends at the end of the loan.
And it still
Whether
ends
they
at the
change
end of the
their
loan.
mind or
So,
not, it's
Yeah.
still-
Well, but that's-
the loan amount is for 10 million?
The loan amount, it's unknown, because it's all our costs are this unknown. Until we go out to bid and find out how much the cost of the jail is gonna be, we don't know. They're all estimates. We're basing it on, I got a form up here that talks, has about 10 or 15 counties and the facilities. And it's all estimates based on what the projected cost might be. So until we go out to bid for this jail and we get a cost, we have to design it, and we have to come up with schematics and all that, and then we send it out to the contractors and let them bid on it. That's when we're gonna know how much money it's gonna cost, and then we'll know how much the loan's gonna be. But we need what's it, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify a couple things for myself. So the 27 million is going to a jail somewhere.
That is absolutely.
It will go to a jail somewhere.
Yes.
And the rest of it, that the loan is unknown because of what you were just saying, that was my question. Shoot, oh, so if you can't get the loan, and if that doesn't happen, then there will be no tax, right? I mean, if for some reason this doesn't go through,
Well,
then the tax doesn't ever
The
start.
cost comes in at 45 million.
if Measure G does not pass, then we need a way, the whole idea of Measure G in the tax
Uh-huh.
is to have a,
Collateral source.
a source to
Okay.
pay back the loan.
Okay.
Because the county doesn't have a source, so they need a revenue source to pay back the loan. So that's what this is gonna generate. And then we'll receive a loan if Measure G passes, and
It's a
Okay.
loan for a
Yes.
portion of the matching funds.
yes.
Right,
not for
and
the
there is the
jail
matching
itself.
fund that, there's 5% that you're working on.
We've already paid about 800,000. The matching funds, we're about 10 million short. There's a gap of the 27 million in the lease revenue bonds, okay? We're about 10 million short to complete the project. That's what this loan would be for.
Okay, so did you look into anything about bringing that building up to code? Or using that building in a different way than one that you
We have to bring it
have?
to ADA compliant. It would cost them more to redo that building. Well, one, we can't build up, we can't build out. It's
Okay.
just, it would cost more. We looked into it. The
So
cost-
if you can't fix that building for a jail, how can you fix that for anything else? How
Well,
can that happen?
I don't know. As long as you don't rip out a wall, you don't have to do anything to it. It doesn't have to come up to standards.
Okay.
So if we do utilize it for, let's say, because the talk is a mental health facility, which I don't want to say that that's what's going to be, because I have no idea.
That's
As
what-
long as we don't have to knock
I
out a
think
wall.
that's what everybody would like.
Yeah.
But you have the the staffing issues
There's
and
just-
things like that, I mean, you have to realistically go, that you're talking 5 years from now, what can we do financially?
The
We
state-
can't promise
and there
things.
is-
Yeah, I just want to, if I could interject in here, one of the things that happened when I toured that facility is I switched my position on it because that is an inadequate facility. And I'm going to-
It is an inadequate
It is an
for what
inadequate
it's being used
facility,
for
and-
now.
And I, hopefully my mind is a little bit open and I can see this. It was badly designed, evidently it was kind of slapped together because the 1880s jail was really bad. And there's a lot of rabbit warren kind of stuff into it, so it's, I don't know what you do other than a wrecking ball on this
Okay.
one. So it's,
So we
that
need a
actually is
jail.
true.
We need a jail.
So
We need a
so
jail,
the
and we're in
question is,
agreement
do
with
we
that.
need a 180 to 300 jail? Or should we take a look at what our incarcerated population number should be and minus from that our mentally ill and drug addicted and really kind of parse it out a little bit? My feeling is that that's going to be a lower number, and that if we look at this, outside of the context of the state has what they're trying to do with massive lobbyists and massive money behind them with these bond issues and things, because there's a lot of players in the room who aren't in this room. They're in the whole, what they're calling it, the prison industrial complex. And we have some real sincere folks here that are trying to do their best within a crazy system. And so I want to differentiate that.
But to not build a new jail right now, we don't know when we could ever, you don't know what else is, how soon something else would come to take the relief off of the jail that we have now.
Nothing's coming. This is
No,
it.
that's-
If
So-
we don't do it now, I don't see any other funding source that is gonna be this
Well,
much
Well,
money.
didn't they
It's
just
not
add
gonna
another
happen.
270 million this year?
Yes,
There's
for
another-
counties,
there's-
but it's a $20 million, each county gets a $20 million award. We're getting $27 million, and 20 million is still
It's
is
not
not
enough
enough.
for what we need.
I mean,
27 million is not enough, so
No,
20
but-
million is definitely not
No,
enough.
there was another $270 million.
But each county can only
addition to
apply
the
for
state
20 million.
funds.
Yes.
Each county can
Addition
only
to
apply
the
for
state
20
funds.
So then
So
we have
each
to have
year,
another-
this is like the third or fourth phase of these.
That's
20
we
million.
don't know.
But
We know
it'll
how
allow
this-
you,
You
it's
know,
competitive.
This you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, moving on to my next question is, I don't understand how you don't think you're gonna fill that jail up like that. If you're releasing one person for one person, I don't understand how that's gonna last.
We very well could. I hope that we can continue to do business like we do and run
But you
successful
don't wanna do
programs.
business like you're doing
Yeah,
because
we
you're
do.
releasing one
Well, there's
person for one
certain ways
person.
that, there are people that we
Is that what
don't
you're
want to
saying?
keep, though. We
We-
don't want to keep a misdemeanor. We don't want to keep somebody that's a petty crime or something like that. We want to still utilize a pretrial program that probation has in place and is bringing back in December.
I'd like to
So
keep-
there's things that we
Yeah.
want to keep doing those things, but we want
You don't wanna release the
accountability.
felons that are
No,
going
we want
back
to,
in.
we want
You
to keep people in jail that need to be in
Right.
jail, or at least keep them in there long enough to deter that behavior.
And
At
we want
least
to
give
have
them
the
something. Right
option
now,
to
we
keep
don't
the
have.
right ones in. That's
I have
what we
that-
want.
I have that petty thief that goes to Walmart or goes steal from our, business
Yeah.
owners, and we let him out an hour later, and he goes and does it again, and then he goes and does it
I guess I was picturing
again.
this was happening like every day, like I don't know what's coming in and what's going out every day.
Well,
or
right
what
now,
you're talking-
I'm low. I was fairly low this morning. I'm high on female beds, but my male population, so at 90 beds, I'm going, woo, I got 90 inmates. And it's still, I have a classification nightmare in there because I'm
You don't
having
have
to.
any PC
I'm
or
having
female
to-
beds.
yeah, I'm having to house people, and I'm just going, okay, don't tell
Which
them why
the
you're
new
here,
jail
you
would
know?
solve the classification, and you were saying
Yes.
that there would be
It would,
better
yes.
observation of the inmates.
Safer for staff, safer for inmates,
So at what
better
point-
program space.
At what point in the jail, when the jail fills up, or at what point does it reach before it starts costing us more in staff, where we have to put more staff in there? We have to
I
put
think I'm
more.
getting more staff, so my staff is where it's at, so I'm not gonna get any more staff.
So
And I don't need
What the
any
new
more
jail
staff.
You know what I'm trying to
allows,
say?
yeah, what a new jail would allow is for them to be in compliance with people's rights,
Right,
because
because it was also about the
even have
Disability
rights.
Act too was
So,
a problem, right?
Andy's
Don't have to do
comment,
that.
our jail system is much larger than any other country. Yeah, we don't do lashing still, we don't cut arms off. You know, we don't eye for eye people. People have rights.
Don't do that in Switzerland.
If you,
People have rights.
yeah, we did
Switzerland is
a
also one
Stanford
tangent
survey
of population.
that determined, and I think I was,
I think there's a good, we're talking about a,
Like,
we're
is
talking
there a
about
ratio
a
like in
facility.
school?
there's
Would you
no
need, like,
ratio,
1
it's
to
just to
5?
safely
Yes,
manage the building.
yes.
We're
So
talking
they have to
about
I'm
have,
saying yes, and you're saying no.
There's no inmate to staff ratio. What it is you have to be able to operate your jail safely, in a safe manner, perform I guess, the standards under Title 15, and be able to meet those standards.
So could you go to 150 inmates with the, 180 with the staff that you have?
Yes.
Okay, I guess that's.
it allows for easier.
It's still not a fair fight.
I'd
You
like
know,
to say-
when you go into a pod with 2 guys and you're fighting 24 guys, it's not a fair fight on us. So we have to find ways that we have to communicate good. We have to figure out, okay, how do we adapt to this situation?
But can we
We're
do that?
talking
We
about a
can.
facility, and Ken mentioned the Sanford report, and what I liked about it, the simplicity of it is how much you spend for rehab, how much you spend for jail. And that's something that we need, as the residents of the county, we need to start looking at. If we have a facility, then that's how we police it. I think it's a very good way to start looking at, is if we're just going to fill up the jail. My first thing, and I remember I jumped on Mike Kopsef about it, simple-minded, I was thinking, you're locking people, putting more people in jail that's wrong. That's, definitely the wrong way to go. But when we start talking about how much are we going to, what is it going to be? And it's really difficult right now, but as things change, as a residents, we really need to start, making sure that we're leaning. If we believe in rehab, that we're leaning in that direction, not locking people up. But there will be a facility, and there will be different opinions as this go. To keep us safe, that's the lieutenant's responsibility to keep us safe. Or Allison's, to keep us safe, they want to lock this person up, and and that's their opinion. My opinion may be that, hey, we have to rehab this person. Locking them up is just going to make it worse. But we need a definite. How much are we going to put into rehab? How much are we going to put into the jail?
Well, that's a question too. Is there going to be any source to increase the rehabilitation program?
Our rehabilitation funds come from realignment.
Pardon me?
I said all of our rehabilitation funds come from realignment.
Okay, but will you be able to get more? Because
That
you're gonna have
depends
more
on the
people?
state formula.
Pardon me?
So that depends on the state formula and how they
Allocate the funds.
they allocate the funds. They have something that is odd math that they do that decides how much you get. I can't.
Called calculations.
Well, it's weird.
It's calculations, but it's calculated based on how many people you actually send to state prison, not how many people you have in your jail. So if we have people in our jail and we are successfully rehabilitating them, we get more money. But if we send people to prison, now,
less money.
unfortunately, you also get punished when you have 6 murderers go to prison, if they're guilty, allegedly. So,
This is why it whipsaws for a small county like this, because the 6 murderers can cause this, like all the allocation statistics to go haywire. And this is a real problem they have, and I'm super sympathetic with them. We have a situation where, and this, I'll go back to Prop 13. We used to be able to raise our property taxes and decide how to spend them on the county level. And unfortunately, so many counties just kept raising them that people squawked, and they brought in Prop 13 that says, hey, now there's some constraints in that you have to have these 2/3 votes. You have to have this money go through the legislature, and the state people divvy it up based on a myriad of bizarre formulas in all kinds of places, roads, sewers, what have you. All that stuff that we used to raise and spend locally since 1978, we've been doing that through a whole bunch of hands touching it. And this is, I think, for me, is really one of the real problems. Is that when we're trying to make resource allocation decisions, like you said, how much money is going to go to education, how much is going to law enforcement, how much is going to roads, how much is going to prisons, we don't have the freedom on the county level to make those kinds of decisions. So, to my mind, we really have to kind of work really hard to put that money and that resource towards education, towards rehabilitation, towards just, not having every dad in the county locked up and then their kids are going feral. We really have to think through from a whole systems point of view what it is that we're trying to do here. And that's why I'm against the jail, because I think we're spending way too much money on concrete and steel that really should be paid to people who are intervening, and it happens one person at a time. And that's, again, I'd like to see it replaced. I'd like to see us really kind of get very, very, as a bean counter, I'm accustomed to asking those tough questions when there's only so much money in the house.
Well, that's the issue I see, is that, this whole thing is just about the jail and not with attendant programs that you go with it.
Unfortunately, because of how the money is, the 27 million is just for concrete and steel. And then the rest that we need to make up the 37 million is for the concrete and steel. Because you have to have a facility to do anything in a facility. To say that we're not gonna do anything, I've dedicated my entire career to this job, and I'm now in the rehabilitation. I have 11 years left before I'm even eligible to retire. To say that I wouldn't do my job continuously, or we would still have everything going that we do now, I think is false, because what we do does work. And the sheriff sees it, the board of supervisors see it. I think it's unfortunate you haven't seen newspaper articles, because we've made the paper several times. I do a board presentation every year with probation. We have an open house that's in the paper that we invite the entire public to. We do numerous press releases, so sometimes things just don't get printed. I can't control that, so.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, nor am I trying to put down your program. I'm glad you're doing it. It's just, my concern is all the money that we're talking about just goes to the jail. And it seems like what we're really talking about, we need to find another revenue source for your rehabilitation program.
Yeah,
We could do another tax.
But inside
sorry.
that jail,
Did you-
inside that jail, there will be classrooms.
It is almost
to
9
provide
o'clock,
these
so,
services.
we're
There will be
only
things
supposed to be
that
until
we
8.
do not have
But
now.
if you have more inmates, you need more teachers. It's just.
Well,
And there's some
I
creative
don't know that I-
partnerships
I don't
out there
know
that
I
provide
agree. It's
for a
just
lot of
matter
those things.
How we manage that population.
If the jail had a safe classroom for a college professor to go in, I'm creating programs for him right now, but I don't think I could find a teacher to walk into our current jail right now and teach inmates English and math basic skills. So I need a facility if I'm gonna design curriculum for them and help them at the community college, from the community college system. I need to have a classroom, a safe environment for my instructor to be able to go in and be able to provide that instruction. So there's other partnerships
Can that be described?
What do you mean?
What a safe classroom is? What is a safe classroom?
I highly suggest you hook up with
Come on,
Jeff
I'll
and
give you a tour.
go look at
Let me
the
show you what I
current
got.
jail and show you
You know,
what
I-
they have for a classroom right now.
But could you build a smaller, much smaller, safer facility? Maybe we don't need 10 million, maybe we need $1 million to create a facility where programming can take place.
So just to put this in reference right now, we can't rebuild, we have a building right now that's offline on our campus right now that we can't rebuild because it's gonna cost us more than $1 million just to remodel it, because we have to pay prevailing wages in the state of California. So a plumber that costs $25, he gets to get paid twice as much, so he's gonna make $75 replumbing our building. So there is costs associated that we have to follow the rules and regulations in the state of California, and that's what really increases the price in developing and building public structures in.
And that's why we can't just redesign what we have is.
I'm not asking about redesign.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
no, I
can there
don't
be a
think so.
mental health or a rehab facility? Not, I know you want a 180-person
Well,
jail, that's fine, but
But a mental health facility isn't
not
going to
even a
solve
mental health,
their,
but
isn't
like
going to
a
solve their
rehab
problem.
facility.
Well, I think one of the problems is, I regret that I wasn't in some way, or more citizens were in some way involved in this needs assessment process, because I think, when they described the group that put this together, it was kind of a lot of county employees and people that are.
We contracted out with the company. They did it. They came in.
Well,
They
you have
provided.
consultants who are in the business of, supporting the need for a big jail. And I think we need to have more involvement of, regular folks like in this room.
I think, Andy, that I'm going to allude to what I started this whole, is the apathy that we have within our county. I don't think we can blame it on the only people that participated in the needs assessment were county employees and elected officials. It's that our community isn't being involved in decisions that are being made. How many people show up to your city council meeting at Weed? How many people show up to our county? Yeah.
It depends on what Crystal Geyser, we can pack the room.
Exactly, so it depends on what's on the agenda and what's happening. So one of the main problems that we need to fix in our communities is the apathy that happens in the community involvement that takes place. And I know that it can happen because I built a $4 million park in Corning, and I involved the community, and it took 4 years until that place was tagged. And that was because I left my community 3 years ago, and I wasn't able to keep participating and keeping the community involved. But I involved them in building that park, and those people that were involved in building that park protected that park. They had pride of ownership, and that's what we're missing in our community.
Well,
is pride of ownership in our community.
I do want to say that it's a little chicken eggy, because what happens is that if you don't have community involvement, if people feel they're separate from their government, they're separate from the decisions that are being made in their life, if our supervisors are working for Crystal Geyser and not for us, then you do have a diminishing amount of community support. And then when your dad and your uncles and your cousins are all in jail, you do have a breakdown of society there. And all of these things are kind of related. So when I say I'm opposing this facility in the jail, part of it is I'm opposing the facility in the jail. But I'm also opposing the kind of society we have where we have this apathy. We've got to, and this is why I founded the Siskiyou Progressives and the Siskiyou Forward Movement, because we really need to have some vehicles where we go out and we have exactly these conversations. And whatever happens in November, I want to continue the relationships that we've had to be able to have frank and disagreeing without being disagreeable conversations. And I think that's super, super important.
Yep.
That we
So can we get like 2 more minutes of you guys laying out your final
I
closing?
think we have enough.
I think we've done 2 hours, and I'm really hungry.
I'll edit it for you.